law firm representing injured people, and by Diamond Drug and Diamond Medical Supply. And he's with us this morning. John, happy Raisinette Day today.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was that, Todd?
Happy Raisinette Day. It is.
It's today's Raisinette Day.
It's chocolate-covered raisin day. Are you a Raisinette guy or a goober guy?
I do not like. I'm not a fan of raisins, so I guess I'd have to go with the goobers. It's funny, when you said Raisinette, I thought you meant like raise the net, like in basketball. I'm like, oh, we're raising the net. Okay, I haven't heard that one, but how about that? Yeah, happy Raisinette Day. Yeah, I'm more like a Reese's peanut butter cup guy.
There you go.
How about that?
There you go. Do you guys actually snack on things during the broadcast? That'd be awful hard to do, wouldn't it?
I probably more on radio than on TV. Because I have to talk more on TV. I think on radio I can kind of zip it until I clean my teeth. But, I will have. The other day I had some peanuts in between innings, but it's like I said, you got to have like 2 peanuts, and then you got to make sure that you're not, sounding like you got a mouthful of marbles.
Yeah. Well, when I do ball, I do football and basketball and some baseball and some hockey. I've done here too as well. And for me, it's Swedish fish.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. Yeah, Swedish fish is a great snack. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Although that gets stuck in your teeth a little bit.
Yeah, it does. All right. Oh, we're supposed to be talking about baseball. Hey, yesterday that was something else. You don't see those kind of games these days. A 1-0 game. It took 2 hours and 21 minutes or something like that. Yeah,
it was a fast one, and it was a picture perfect day. Kind of like Pittsburgh weather here yesterday. It was, or Indiana weather. I know we've actually been very windy and cool down here over the weekend. And yesterday was beautiful, 68, maybe 70 degrees or something like that with hardly any wind. And normally those games, you see a lot of offense. The only time you see 1-0 is when the wind's blowing in 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But our guys pitched beautifully. They got a guy named Chase DeYoung, who signed as a non-roster guy, was actually out of baseball last year, ended up pitching in the independent leagues down in Texas, started working on his stuff, increased his velocity on his fastball. He has a real good feel for pitching in terms of like locating, changing speeds, keeping hitters off balance, and he's been great this spring. He went 3 2/3 scoreless. We brought in David Bednar from Mars, who came in and cleaned up the 4th inning, and then a handful of bullpen guys, Kyle Crick, Feliz, Sam Howard, came in and put up a bunch of zeros. And maybe the one guy that we're starting to talk about a little bit that finished the game, his name is Roanis Contreras. We got him from the Yankees in the Jameson Tyone trade. I think he's only 20 or 21 years old. He's never pitched above A ball. He pitches the 9th inning, gets a save. He's throwing 98, 98, 98. Has a nasty slider. So this guy is certainly a prospect to look out for. We probably won't see him this year. Maybe it's September, but certainly a part of the future. But yeah, it was fun to watch the pitchers go out there and throw up a bunch of zeros, make quick work of the Twins, and all we needed to win was one swing of the bat. Adam Frazier, it's a home run. He stays hot, and that's all they needed.
Hey, John, I remember back in, I think it was 91, we're sitting at Three Rivers Stadium right along the third baseline. This young guy, Wehner, is playing for third base for the Pirates. And there was this pop-up near the stands, and you came running over, and you're only a couple of feet away, saw the way that you were going for that ball. And it was really interesting to watch how, because you don't see this on TV, you don't see all of the movement that happens when a play happens like that. Everybody is on the run. Doesn't matter what position you're playing, you're all moving to be back up at some position or another. So we watched that. You get to see that all the time, and I was just wondering, how often do coaches actually go over that, or is that something that by the time you get to the major league level, you know where you're supposed to be and you get there?
You should. You should have a pretty good idea by the time you get to pro ball, period. You should have a pretty good idea, depending on where you played. I grew up in Carrick, in the city of Pittsburgh, so my coaching and development was not up to par with some of these kids that grew up in California or Texas or Florida. I learned a lot in college. I went to Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, and I had a drill sergeant as a coach. So I got drilled the fundamentals of baseball pretty hard into my brain. So you have a pretty good idea when you get into the pro level. During the minor leagues, yes, I mean there are guys. Some are needing more fundamental and teaching than others. Some have a pretty good grasp on it. By the time you get to the big leagues, there should be no surprises. I've always hated, and I hardly ever, in fact, I don't know if I've ever used the term rookie mistake. It's a rookie mistake. I don't believe in rookie mistakes because in baseball especially, you're playing hundreds of games before you get to the major league level. And you should have a pretty good grasp that there isn't any rookie mistakes as far as base running, as far as defense, where you're supposed to be on any given play. That stuff should be ingrained in your mind. Because you've had plenty of coaching by the time you get to the big leagues level. That doesn't mean that you might, have a mental lapse here and there. I would call it a mental lapse before I'd call it a rookie mistake, at least.
Yeah. Does that A-ball pitcher throw 100 miles an hour when John Wehner is coming up through the Pirates minor league system? Because it seems everybody does now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. It's amazing the arms that are out there nowadays and how hard these guys throw. It just seems like 95 to 100 miles per hour or a dime a dozen. It's like every bullpen has 5 or 6 of those guys. And I mean, I could probably go back now and think about it. I've played parts of 12 seasons in the minor leagues, and I could probably think of 5 that threw over 95 miles an hour. That to me it's amazing how these pitchers have evolved and become flamethrowers, and to the point where I think as a hitter, you're used to seeing 95 plus miles per hour. And again, like when I was in the minor leagues, somebody was throwing 95 plus, you remembered them.
Yeah.
You didn't see it very often.
And so a guy like DeJong and some of those other guys that throw what we would consider to be normal 15 or 20 years ago, they're the anomaly now, and they're the ones that are tougher to get up against because you're not used to somebody throwing with the fastball being that slow, the difference in speed between the curve and the fastball being as wide as it is. It's really fascinating to watch how this game is evolving.
That's a great point, Todd. You look at some of the better pitchers in games. You think of like guys that do give hitters fits. Kyle Hendrick doesn't average 90 miles per hour with the Cubs. Zach Davies averages about 90 miles per hour with the Cubs. We signed Trevor Cahill earlier this spring. He pitched for the first time on Monday. He was throwing 90, 91. Good curveball, changing speeds, locating. He got 6 outs on 17 pitches.
He was good.
It was like the easiest 2 innings I've seen all year. And like, what's going on, this guy? And that was after Mitch Keller, who looked as good as I've seen him, throwing 97, 98, had a good curveball. He gave up like 7 or 8 hits in 3 innings, and then Cahill comes in and gets 6 outs and 16 pitches. It's amazing to me, but you're exactly right. It's like a soft tosser. It's for maybe why we went out and signed a knuckleball pitcher. We got to slow the bats down.
I was watching a YouTube video this morning. It showed baseball Hall of Famers throwing out the first pitch long after their careers were over. And I think Nolan Ryan at the age of 66 threw one 85 miles an hour. And it's just amazing to watch these guys. Some of them, like Randy Johnson, stepped up there and he whipped a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Greg Maddux could barely get it to home plate, but then that's not all that different from when he was playing. He was a soft tosser who really, really, as his career gone on, he got better and better and better.
Yeah, I was one that would rather face the velocity. I faced Randy Johnson, I faced Pedro Martinez, and I'd much rather face those 2 guys than to face Greg Maddux or Tom Glavine. Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine combined won over 650 games. They didn't even throw a breaking ball. They threw very few sliders, very few curveballs. They relied on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and a changeup and location and changing speeds. Glavine abused me. I couldn't hit him for anything. I knew it was coming, still couldn't hit it. Maddox, he was fun to face because he'd give you pitches to hit, but there was movement, and he just it's almost like he's like, here, I'm gonna throw this pitch. He's gonna hit a grounder to short. He knew what you were gonna do before you did, and just was a magician.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those guys were artists, to say the least. They were fun to face, but frustrating because you're not worried about much. It's not like they're going to throw it by you, but they're going to get you out.
They had that Atlanta strike zone, too. So as you're going into the playoffs against the Braves, are you wanting to face Smoltz or Maddox?
Oh, no Smoltz. Smoltz was nasty. And I wasn't playing. I mean, I was a bench player. I only got a couple of bats. The first year, 91, I was up. I got hurt. I was on the DL. I had back surgery. 92, I got a couple of at-bats. I faced Avery and Smoltz. And, yeah, Smoltz is no fun. He's no, I'd never want to face Smoltz. He was he had a slider that was unhittable, and he threw hard, and he knew how to locate it. I'd still rather go up against Maddox. Even Glavine, I don't know. I didn't mind facing Glavine. Leland kept putting me in against Glavine. I ran into him over the winter, and what are you doing? I got like 20-some at-bats against Glavine. I think I got 2 hits. Why you keep running me in there against Glavine? I can't hit Glavine. Yeah.
Well, as long as you know, when you get hit by a pitch by those guys, it doesn't hurt near as much either.
Oh, not at all. But Glavine and Maddox never pitched inside. Well, actually, Glavine did towards the end of his career. He started throwing cutters. When he started losing velocity, the end of his career, he cut the ball on the inside part of the plate. But yeah, they lived, like you said, the Atlanta Braves strike zone. And I think Maddox and Glavine exposed the strike zone more than anybody. If the umpire gave them 2 inches off the plate, they went 3 inches. If he gave them that, they'd go further. They could literally live off the outside corner all day long. There was games that they never had to throw it on the plate, but they were good enough to consistently work that outside corner and extend out as far as the umpire would give them. And that's what made them so great. And that's what I think what made them not so great in the postseason. Because if you look at their postseason numbers, not nearly as good as their regular season numbers. And I think a lot of that had to do with the umpiring. The umpires tighten it up in the postseason.
Yeah. Hey, I'm keeping you from your breakfast here this morning, John. It's been fun. I won't be here Friday. Josh will. He'll have you, and then I'll catch up with you again on Monday, okay?
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
John Wehner, have a great day.
Thanks, you too, Tom. Bye.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.